Hello viewers, this is Pulse of Africa. Today we have a young leaders from Pan-African Leadership Summit 2025. Hello dear guests.
Good evening.
Hello, good. How are you?
Are all we African work hard, want to make the future Africa prosperous. But are we a hardworking? What's your point of view on this?
Thank you. Like I said to you, income generation is something very important. I've always talked about alternative resource mobilization because if you look at Africa, almost all of our aid comes from the West. So in case the West decides tomorrow and say that they are not supporting Africa, what can we do? So we need to invest more into creating more art and craft in terms of improving our income, because Africa as a nation, a continent, is the richest, and we have almost all of the resources. If we decide to say that, let us get involved into agriculture. Young people industrialize agriculture. Where I come from, Liberia, our staple food is rice. We import rice. So if Africa as a nation can decide, let us have an African farm where all of Africa will see that as a stable food. We reduce import, and if we export more, our incomes grow. So that I think my first thing we need to do is to industrialize agriculture. If you industrialize agriculture, the income of Africa, most especially Pan-Africanism, is going to grow.
So you mean that we have to concentrate on using our resources, changing our resources to the income?
Yes.
I really thank you. And my sister?
Thank you for the question. I'd like to piggyback on what my brother Emmanuel has said, but I'd like to take a divergent approach to it by highlighting on the majority of what the people face. We can't run away from the fact that majority of us from the global south faces a lot of unemployment. So not everybody has the luxury of deciding how can I increase my income if I don't even have an income to start off with. So I think in addressing some of the challenges, we need to look at the facts, or we need to look into the areas of stream as to where we could really push our youth for them to be able to be self-sustainable in terms of them having employment, in terms of them being self-reliant and dependent. So we need to start looking at changing the structures of work and things. We'll need to look into other economies like gigonomics and diversifying of the economy by moving away from the conventional works where people work a fixed job of 7 to 8 or 5 to 8 or whatever their working conditions are, and we need to start analyzing and seeing what are the potentials that that the youth possess, and how can we enhance that to ensure that they are capacitated enough to start and to have their own sustainable source of fixed income. Once we highlight that, then we can look into the thing of culture. Generally, youth are energetic people. They are out there, they follow their passion. So once we have empowered the youth to really be out there, put themselves out there, they'll have the energy to do what they're supposed to do. They'll do it with a smile, they do it with, without even having to do any effort, because it's something that they love. So once we have established that, we can then look into the working culture. But I also don't want to take away from the fact that there are those that are currently employed and they do have a sense of good work culture. You come to a space and you find the youth and you are immediately delighted because you know the service that you're going to get is of good quality, is somebody that knows. There are other factors to consider in terms of them enhancing the service delivery by innovation of technology usage, of innovation of, trying to streamline processes. And the working culture within the youth is generally good. They are motivated. They are disciplined. They show up on time. They are punctual, and they don't really have a sense of speaking back, although they have their strong opinions on what they do think, but they don't say it in a disrespectful manner. So that is what I'd like to highlight. Thank you.
I really thank you. Thank you for your wonderful ideas. And my brother?
Yes, thank you very much. As for the work culture of Africans, of course, from the time immemorial, Africans have been known to be very hardworking, and we also bring value in terms of innovation. From the campuses of Africa, with the little budget you have for education, and of course a lot of challenges we have with equipments for study, African students still come out very excellently, and they also proceed to do higher studies in these other climes, and they also stand out. You can also talk for Africans from the point of young people into innovations. Those of them in agriculture from the villages, and those of them that are rising up to mechanized agriculture, and today AI is gaining prominence in agriculture, even within Africa. So we must give kudos to these young people. The Silicon Valleys of this world are powered by Africans, and these are people who got education from Africa. So we have Africans, very, very exceptional. But again, do we have the capacity to blow our trumpets? I do not think so. I do not think we have that. We still have the other side of media outside Africa playing down on the very great things Africans are doing and only showing us those who are involved in criminality. Go to sports, go to football. You see Africans, standing out in their chosen vocation and their career in basketball, in football, in field and track athletics. Africans have been very outstanding, and you cannot take it away from us that we are a continent of industry, not taken away from a continent of innovation. And of course, the colonial masters that came here did not say that they didn't meet us doing well. They didn't meet us dying of hunger. They didn't meet Kwashiorkor on ground. They didn't meet us not even advancing our technology. They met all of those things on ground, and they just wanted to imprint their own interest in the history of Africa's development. So I want to say emphatically that Africans have been very hardworking. We bring value. If not, the West will not open their doors for our people to even move into the Mediterranean, to sneak into. Europe is not that porous, if not because they are happy that our people are coming in to work hard, for them. So I want to say emphatically that from our mothers who actually stay in the sun, in the market, and work so hard, to the people who are in very organized, technology settings, our fathers who, drive long distances, without rest, as lorry drivers, and everybody in Africa. Africa is a continent of industry, I dare say, and we are very, very ahead of every other person in terms of putting efforts to put food on our table and make the life better for ourselves, our families, and of course the society.
I really thank you. Very awesome. Next.
Thank you very much for the brilliant question. I would start by saying, are African young leaders hardworking? Yes, they are very hardworking. Are there difficulties or things that are hindering them from being hardworking? Yes, it is there. Because number one, we have been made to believe that we are more focused in fighting poverty, which has been, very rampant due to the bad governance and corruption that we have in Africa. Okay. And this is the reality, and this is the situation we are in. So young people have been made to believe that there are limited opportunities. Even though our continent is very rich, they do not get these opportunities because of the corruption that is happening. So I would say, I would say, and this is my opinion, a hungry dog is an angry. A hungry man is an angry person. And that is why we tend to see that a lot of African leaders advising us and telling the young people that they should they should go for these opportunities, they should be innovative, they should start businesses and not wait, in as much as there's high unemployment rate in Africa. But how can we look for these opportunities? Well, we are facing corruption, nepotism, and lack of support. Okay, so these are the problems that young people are facing, and you see a lot of young people are getting into, drugs and a lot of, criminal activities because of the situation we have. So other than that, I would say that Africa is a very rich continent, and we can make it better. It is us, the young people. And how can we do this? Let us show our numbers. Let us turn out to, ensure that young people take up leadership positions so that we can be the change that we want in our country, because Africa is us and Africa is our business.
I really thank you.
Thank you.
Do you want to add some more?
If Africa must improve, we need to place premium on our own products. Now, we need to industrialize our revolution as Africa. And I say this to anybody. If you look at almost all of our African presidents in Africa, now the furnitures they use as African presidents, they are all imported from the West. If we have all of the raw materials, what is stopping us from using our own furnitures in our offices? If we have the political will as African leaders, our presidents, I would like to see an African president who will issue an executive order to say all of my ministers, all of my parliament members must use African-made furnitures. And if you use that, what it says to us in Africa, that we are industrializing into empowering our young people. That is the reason why you see some African countries, like the president of Sierra Leone, he's using African-made furnitures. When the president of a country takes a lead, his ministers follow. If we use all of our African furnitures in our offices, what it says to us, it reduces import. Once you reduce imports in your country, you invest more in the economy. So I will look forward to a pan-African country where we will use our own raw materials as something very important to us. We need to walk in the streets and see that resemblance of a pan-African person. And I say this for free. If we get involved into agriculture, grow our own food, wear our own clothes, use our own furnitures, it says that Africa is ready for a pan-African revolution. But if we cannot do that, all of our conversations around the table will just be a lip-service conversation. And I want to say to us African leaders, let us industrialize the pan-African revolution in order to have a unique society where the young people can sit around the table. We need to have one African currency. I do not need to come to Addis Ababa airport and you tell me to pay for my visa with US dollars. I need to pay in an Ethiopian dollars, right? If I go to Nigeria, I need to pay in the Nigerian money. If I go to Liberia, I should pay for visa using Liberian money. Why am I using US dollars to pay for visa when I can use my own currency? Is this the Africa we want? I don't think so. So we need to get a revolutionary Africa wherein we can use our own raw materials on ourselves. It says to us that we are a resemblance of a true pan-African country. Thank you very much, and I look forward to having you.
I really thank you guys for your very awesome discussion. I thank you. And dear viewers, that's all about our discussion with the future Pan-African young leaders. Thank you for watching.